Welcome to the reading of the Sabbath School lesson for the second quarter of 2022. Welcome to Lesson 1 from the series on Genesis, titled The Creation. This lesson is ready for teaching on April 2, and my name's Percy Harrold. Monday, March 28, The Creation. Read Genesis chapter 1, verse 4, 10, 12, 18, 21, 25, and 31, and Genesis 2, verses 1 to 3. What is the significance of the refrain, "It was good," in the first creation account? What is the implied lesson contained in the conclusion of creation in Genesis 2, verses 1 to 3? First of all, Genesis 1, verse 4, "And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness." And verse 10, "And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas, and God saw that it was good." And verse 12, "And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good." And verse 18, "And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good." And verse 21, "So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the water abounded, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good." And verse 25, "And God made the beast of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good." And verse 31, "Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day." And chapter 2, verses 1 to 3, "Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made." At each step of the creation account, God evaluates his work as tov, or good. It is generally understood that this adjective tov means that God's work of creation was successful, and that God's observation that it was good means that it worked. The light was illuminating in Genesis 1, verse 4. The plants were yielding fruit in verse 12, and so forth. But this word referred to more than the efficacy of a function. The Hebrew word tov also is used in the Bible to express an aesthetic appreciation of something beautiful, as you read in Genesis 24 and verse 16. "Now the young woman was very beautiful to behold, a virgin. No man had known her, and she went down to the well, filled her pitcher, and came up." It is also used in contrast to evil, as we read in Genesis 2 and verse 9, "And out of the ground the Lord God made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil," which is associated with death, we read in 2:17. "But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die." The phrase, "it was good," means that the creation was working nicely, that it was beautiful and perfect, and that there was no evil in it. The world was not yet like our world, affected by sin and death, an idea affirmed in the introduction to the second creation account in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 5. "Before any plant of the field was in the earth, and before any herb of the field had grown, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground." This description of the creation radically contradicts the theories of evolution, which dogmatically declares that the world shaped itself progressively through a succession of accidental happenings, starting from an inferior condition and progressing to a superior one. In contrast, the biblical author affirms that God intentionally and suddenly created the world in Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. There was nothing happenstance or chancy about any of it. The world did not come about by itself, but only as a result of God's will and word. As you read in verse 3, then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. The verb bara, or create, translates in Genesis 1 as "in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth," occurs only with God as its subject, and it denotes abruptness. God spoke, and it was so. The creation text informs us that everything had been done then. Genesis 1 verse 31, then God saw everything he had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day. And according to the Creator himself, it was all judged very good. Genesis 1:1 states the event itself, the creation of heaven and earth, and Genesis 2:1 declares that the event was finished, and it was all completed, including the Sabbath, in 7 days. And so to finish the day, why does the idea of billions of years of evolution completely nullify the Genesis creation story? Why are the two views incompatible in every way? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind, and It Is Written. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. Remember, God is always faithful.